Um, June starts on Monday. Um, so I just want to go over some things about June, possibly some implications that might be going on in the very near future. All right, quickly, I want to start with SPY. I drew the extended fibs here because this is where the fib extension can potentially go to before we might see a pullback or a reversal of price. Um, we clearly ran through the 150% extended fib. We're at 160. We're close to 161.8 right now, and 178.6 is potentially the last fib. Recently, I think Goldman Sachs put out that they think that SPY will go to 800. So that will put us around 178.6% for that, right? All right, so that's SPY. It's QQQ here. So QQQ right now, we are at the 178.6% extension of fib. May was a incredible. Um, May, I think it went up 8% or 10. Well, 10%. Sorry. And the month before that was 15%. So we had a 15% and a 10% in the Qs, back to back months, and then it was 10% and 5% for SPY, right? Then I'm gonna jump to Bitcoin here really fast. Bitcoin, it kind of looks like it's a bull flag forming here. I mean, sorry, not bull flag. Sorry, bear flag forming here. So be a little bit aware of that, right? So price is going, pulls down, and then it starts to slowly be there. And then obviously you can see with the bear flag also, you see a sharp pullback, and then we see decreased volume before it drops down even more, right? So that's something to be aware of and be cognizant of, right? Um, cool. Let's go to what I was looking at earlier. A couple of things I want to look at. I want to look at Meta. I've drawn all over this chart already, but let me clear this up. Let me put this over here for now. Cool. All right. So I'm starting on the monthly just because the month just closed, and so I get to see a better visual of what we're looking at here, right? So let me just actually just let's see if I can hide this. Let me actually just throw it over here. Oh, sorry. Just throw it off the screen for now. Cool. So first thing I did here was I saw if there's any trends available from the past monthly trends. So I took this trend line from 88, and then I saw this low here, um, and I just connected these lows, right? So here to here, I drew this line. This line cuts all the way through this price point, and as you can see, price for Meta came down in this area again and kind of touched, sort of touched, got close but didn't touch, and then it touched here, and then it came back up, and then it was kind of dancing. So this validates this trend line, right? So I'm looking for validation on trend lines, right? I'm not looking for just 2 points to touch. That's if it happens, that's good, but we want validation, right? You get validation by seeing multiple touch points on those, and that validates it further. A trend line consists of two, validation consists of two or more. So you want to see that validated. So we seen it validated about right here, and then it bounced up again, right? So, and then on the flip side, we see that price kind of goes in this area and then rejects, goes above here, and then rejects. And now price looks like it's coming up to that point again, right? So let's go from the monthly to the weekly so you can kind of see a little bit better. And this gives you more of a visual of how strong the trend line is, right? So it goes down, it goes here, it comes up in this area right here, and as you can see, it just bounces off, bounces off, bounces off. It never breaks this trend line. So this validates the trend line there. Then we have this point here, touches here, and it bounces up, goes up to 744. Again, it validates that same trend line, right? Touches here to trend line. Then once it breaks here, trend line is not ruined, but the trend is broken for now, right? And then price tries to get above this trend again, and then it fails, and then it comes back down here, right? So, but what you're also seeing is that this trend line here, these failed higher highs, failed higher highs here, 744, 759. These failed higher highs are creating a downward sloping trend, right? So you have this downward sloping trend right here, and this is another down sloping trend, so right, and that down sloping trend is higher higher low lower highs, I'm sorry, lower highs. So lower high, lower high, lower high, lower low, right? And so for this trend of this downward sloping trend, this channel to end, price needs to break above this small dotted line that I have here, and also for it to get back into this long-term trend, it needs to get above this solid dotted line, right? So those are two key points that I want to mention, right? And they all obviously cross here, and price currently is here, right? Price currently is here, and price is currently on the weekly right at the 20 MA. Like what what are the chances, you know? Like what are the chances that occurs? But that's just the weekly picture, right? So now we have a weekly picture, and then we have a monthly picture. Let's go to the daily, right? Daily is going to give us a little bit more information. We'll see more of these contact points, etc., right? Um, so let's see if we can zoom out a little bit more. So this is why I always use different time frames, because a lot of this could be considered noise, right? If you're an investor, you bought down here. This is all great, right? This is amazing. You're in euphoria. Comes down and it hits here. You might panic sell and be like, I should have sold earlier. Or if you're an investor, you don't know if this is the right time to buy, but you know that it's gone below 30 here, the 30 RSI. You look at the weekly, you see that it also is below this. Oops, sorry. It's below. It didn't quite go below here, but it did get low. And if you do it off of the daily, that's a good time to potentially buy, right? If you bought every low on the 30 here, you're buying a good opportunity, right? Good opportunity to buy, good opportunity to buy, uh, good opportunity to buy, right? So you buy the 30 RSI on Meta, it's a pretty good opportunity to buy some shares, right? So back to the trading aspect of it, right? Let me clear this off. So we looked at the monthly, the weekly, the daily, which I said was a lot more noise. So we see the price going up and down, but it goes up, but it's obviously still coming down, right? So we don't move unless the price breaks above a certain point, right? Let me clear this up. This is taking a lot of space. Perfect. Cool. So once I get to the daily, I usually turn off the pivots, highs, and lows, because as you can see, it gets a little convoluted. But on the daily, it kind of clears it. We already know kind of what highs and lows are, right? We've got those marked out. Um, and now, so we're seeing Meta right now. So I have this marked here because this is this is the high of Meta for last month, and this is the low of Meta for last month, right? So you would consider this a consolidation candle, which means price has expanded here, and then price has basically collapsed into this small zone, trading within this small zone. This small zone could occur forever. It can get smaller this next month, smaller the next month, or it could expand both ways. But when you see price consolidation like this, that is a good thing, because typically after price compresses, it expands. It can expand upwards or downwards, or expand both ways, right? The thing that we gotta be cognizant of is in July we have earnings for Meta, right? So that's you have to note that, right? So back to the daily. What are we seeing on the daily right now? So we've seen price jump above the 20, very positive sign. We see price above the 20. We notice that there is a gap fill here to here, also very important, right? So a gap fill basically means that there's price that there's a this is area on the chart where price basically got skipped over. So there's buyers and sellers sitting here. These buyers and sellers got skipped over, right? So their contracts are still open. Imagine people taking the train and you have a ticket and you're waiting for the train to come, and the train's coming down and the train basically skips a whole group of people going both directions, right? It just zips by and goes straight down. There's people that still want to go back this direction, right? There's still people that want to go this direction, but they got skipped, right? So you went from, let's say, from 125th Street to 42nd Street, right? You're skipping 116th, 110th, 96, 86, 72nd, 66, 59, 50th. You skipped all these streets, right? But people want to go back and forth, right? So they're just sitting there waiting for their tickets to get picked back up so they can go to the direction. So they're sitting there waiting. So these orders here are waiting orders, right? Um, but these typically get filled pretty fast, right? So once it starts to go through here, it can zip through this area either upwards or downwards fast, but you're just waiting for it to tell you which way it wants to go, right? So as of now, when price entered this area here, it has gone up and it's starting to push up, right? And the previous time price has gone up here, there's people who still want to go back down, so they go downtown. People want to go back down, go downtown. So it rejected this area, and now it's coming up here, and now it's in a new area. So for me, I'm waiting for price to break above this 643 area. That 643 area is where I would be interested in to start my my meta call position, and then above this line is where I would take another position, right? Because at this point, price becomes back in trend, right? So I can essentially do two different opportunities to buy Meta. My entry A is here, and I would like to see it close in a day for the day above this area, and then the number two area would be here, and I would like to see it close above this 200. This is going to be a little bit of a line in the sand here. The 200 SMA typically, the 200 SMA has a tendency to be it is a tendency to be a line in the sand for bulls or bears, right? So if there are people who still think price shouldn't be above this area, that this is the last line in the sand, right? It's the last line in the sand. And as you can see here, it came up here, it broke above, then it came back down, tried again, failed again, and came back all the way down, right? So there's the line in the sand for Meta. Um, so those are my two entries I'm looking at, and I have those marked out, right? So once price gets above this area, actually I don't have this one marked out. Once price closes above this, um, that is for me a second opportunity to get another position. So if I don't get this position, if I miss it somehow, you know, but then this one will be my second one. And if I'm in this position already, if I'm getting in this one, that means this one has already ran up, right? So I have this position. Let's say I put half of a ticket on this one, and then it gets up here. I don't have to. I can take a different position, do half here, or I could just be like, all right, well, this is confirmed. Um, I'm going to take a whole ticket here, right? And depending on what you want to do, you can either take a whole one here, half one here, or you can do half and half, whatever that is for you, that is. But this is the one I'm looking at the most for Meta. And if it doesn't come up here, I just sit out, right? I'm not going to let it like anticipate it. Um, in the stock market, you don't want to be necessarily anticipatory. Because those things, like if you anticipate something going here to here without like it confirming or out any confirmation, that is where you get hit the hardest, right? And again, the price can come up here, it can break above here, it could touch this line right here, and obviously it can reject, right? Because it's rejected here, it's rejected here, so it could reject as well, right? So if you want a further confirmation, price closes above here, it goes up, it pulls back down to this line, it retests it, and it breaks up, right? That could happen. Why do we know that can happen? I'll show you exactly why. Because it happened here. This is exactly what happened. Price breaks above here, goes up, comes back down, tests this, and then next thing you know, it's 731, right? So this happens often, right? These plays happen, and they happen in front of you. Um, but yeah, that is all. Thanks.